Nation of Fit in 10, welcome to day 65, 5 days to go, and reminder for you to keep doing your absolute best. Of course, trying to make those strides forward. I know it's harder because it's summer right now, and I can see it. And this is the first challenge that I've ran this late into the year, only because I started it. We started the spring one a little bit late. So running into the summer, I know it can be hard, but I want to encourage you. The last 5 days here, remember, every day counts, and you've just got to put your best foot forward and plan out your food in advance. Okay, if you pre-make your food, it's so easy. You could just grab it and go. That's all you have to do. Eat for function. Okay, that's my tip for today. Eat for function. All right, yesterday we talked about how can you spot reduce, or is it true that people have lost areas to lose? And of course, I said yes, absolutely, that is true. Generally speaking, most people have lost area to lose. Very, very. I don't think I've ever seen. Well, I have, but it's very far and few where people tend to lose fat evenly everywhere. All the way through their fat loss process. And I've seen this to an extreme extent because I've obviously worked with a lot of competitive athletes, and I've been in the competitive physique industry since 1999. Well, actually, no, I guess 1998. So it's been a little while. And so you can see people going from just like, normal, healthy body fat level to extremely low. So I've seen a lot of pretty extreme body transformations, including many of my own. And you usually just have that last area. And I think, as I mentioned yesterday, for men, it's usually lower back and stomach. For women, it's usually one of two types that I tend to see. It's fat in the back of the arms and the abdomen, or it's fat around the hips and the thighs. Okay, so next question here. It's a long question, so bear with me here. In this program, we have had to focus on body fat percentage. No, we're not focusing on body fat percentage. We're focusing on body fat mass. And I can definitely see the difference there. However, the subcutaneous fat I can still see, I would like to continue to address while building my shape and strength. Is that a very different approach from this, or is it similar to some tweaks? After we get our fat percentage down, it seems like the next step would be building muscle for shape, mobility, and strength. I do feel that I've gotten stronger, but I don't necessarily see any new muscle yet, or feel a huge difference. Again, there definitely is a change, but I'd like to create a physical goal now. Okay. For example, I'd love to be strong enough to do a pull-up. That's something I have been able to do since I was a kid. For building on mobility, should we be focusing on getting full extension of each movement, or are there other ways working out that you would recommend? Okay, so a lot of questions here, a lot to run through. So let's break this down and see how much I can get through of it today in this video. So we're not working on body fat percentage. Actually, I talked about this a little bit yesterday. Body fat percentage is a ratio of your fat mass to non-fat mass. Okay, so you can lower your body fat percentage just by increasing your muscle mass and not losing any fat. Or you could, lower your body fat percentage just by keeping your muscle mass where it is and lowering fat. That's mainly what's happening in this program. So there's kind of two ways to tackle it. It's unlikely, although it can happen with people when they're new to training, to improve their lean muscle mass and decrease their fat. That can happen, but again, that's usually just with new people. So the focus in this program is just fat loss. Now, you raise a very good point here in that. Well, I'll tell you why I think it's a good point. That you kind of going down the road of saying, hey, now I've done this. How can I improve my shape and my strength? So this is where more resistance-based workouts will come in, or I should say more intense resistance-based workouts will come in. So when we talk about intensity, we're really talking about working to a heavier capacity, working in a lower rep range, working in anywhere from, let's say a 5 to 20 rep range, and then working to failure or close to failure with different exercises, obviously with enough resistance, right, so that you can reach that failure. So really, weight training, okay, or resistance training. Weight training is a form of resistance training. I only say weight training because there's going to be certain movements where you just really need to hold weight. Bands and stuff are probably not going to do it. And this is a great way. I'm going to really, I really want to underline this. It is much easier for you to maintain or to manage your body composition if you focus on lean muscle mass, okay? And this is something that we are only losing as we get older. Of course, you probably know by now, the more lean mass you have, the higher metabolic rate's going to be. Lean muscle, aside from your vital organs, is the most energy consuming tissue in the human body. So it takes a lot of energy to sustain it. But also muscle gives us that, it's what gives us our shape, right? If you don't have any muscle and you lose a bunch of fat, there's really nothing there that's left. And quite often I will get people that say to me, oh, I've got plenty of muscle in my legs, or I've got plenty of muscle in my body, so I don't really need to build any muscle. But when in reality is actually they just have a high amount of fat in that area. Not being mean, it's just I've seen it over and over and over again. So people often mistake fat in areas as being muscle. So to you, I would implement more weight training, okay? More of a weight training program, more of a training style where you're working, I'll be even more precise here, where you're working somewhere between, let's say, 8 to 12 reps. It doesn't have to be that, but just for simplicity, 8 to 12 reps, and you're working towards failure with basically different movements. Okay, big compound movements as well as isolated movements, okay? Or better put, multi-jointed movements versus single-jointed movements. Okay, incorporating both of those, okay, and then working the entire body. And what you'll find is hormonally you'll become, well, I guess for lack of a better description, healthier in some ways. Usually we tend to get hormone levels back to a certain status where, if they're not there, where it makes body composition change a little bit easier. Although we're really looking at a long-term project here. The other thing I'd want to raise is your calories, right? We want to increase calories when we're doing this. So that's not to say raise calories where you're getting really, really fat, but we really want to focus on those good foods. Those foods are going to help to push you to do a more productive, heavier style workout, so you can have really effective weight training sessions, and then as well as the recovery aspect. You want to be able to recover and build lean muscle tissue. And then you can go through a phase down the road where you still keep the weight training going, but maybe you do a calorie reduction and you work on trying to lower your body fat. You wouldn't have to, but that could be another goal, right? So you kind of go through these phases of where the focus is building muscle, and then you go through a phase where the focus is losing body fat, and you kind of cycle in and out of those. And those are great things to do because you will plateau and you will find that you need to change, and it is a great thing to sort of oscillate between. All right, 9 minutes. Let's get to the message of the day. I've not finished that question, so I will come back to more of it tomorrow. All right, today's message is, and this is another really important reminder. One of my favorite messages: being challenged is inevitable. Being defeated is optional. Being challenged is inevitable, but being defeated or quitting is optional. It's always optional. If something's important enough to you, I want to really encourage you to keep working at it. Just keep working at it. You will become more successful if you keep working at it. Okay? Never, ever, I know it sounds cheesy, or trite or whatever, but never ever give up, okay? Keep working towards the things that are important to you, and you will get better at it. You will get more effective at doing it, and you will get closer to where you want to be if you keep going. Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, for the love of God, give some gratitude, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.